I'd like for you first to tell me about your company. I know you sent me that file. I want you to tell me about your company and how you got started and where you are now and where you hope to go.
So, we've been a multifaceted company for quite some time. I probably has its roots back to, I don't know, but I would say 25-ish years ago, maybe, when I was like 18.
Mm-hmm.
I started off in the insurance world, but the company I worked for really taught me both sales and customer service and things like that. And that's kind of where it got started. Really the whole financial wellness aspect of things. Then I would say in my early 20s, I kind of, actually even before that, I mean, I've been around the merchant service realm since the Knuckle Busters.
The things that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, the old Knuckle Busters.
Knuckle Busters, yeah. I remember those. Yes.
So, I've been around that at least that long. I remember the days when it was, Interchange Plus, maybe, and, a bunch of other weird options that nobody else even talks about anymore, really. But, so, I mean, I kind of just did a lot of traditional processing. At that point, it really was not, didn't even look anywhere close to what it looks like today. So back in like 2000-ish, I was, in my 20s, I ended up getting into the telecom side of things as well. I started off in mobility, kind of working with Nextel. I don't know if you know who those guys were.
Sounds familiar, but no, I'm not super familiar.
They did push-to-talk functions on cell phones.
Okay.
And I kind of just started dabbling more in the mobility and telecom side of things. And everything has just grown ever since. So, I mean, it's kind of been a mix. Everything from your card processing platforms to telecom. I'm not really a bad hack at the insurance world either.
The jack of all trades, or the gentleman of all trades.
Well, I've been a sales trainer and things like that. I've, ran a district for Colonial Life for quite some time, in between doing everything else. When I was over in Colorado, I swiped a buddy's office in his Subaru shop, and I ran my business out of his shop, and in turn, made him a bunch of money and stuff in between, and trained a bunch of his green peas.
Cool.
Sales and stuff like that's always been something I do.
Sure. And then you do some pastoring too, evangelizing.
I do. I'm an ordained minister.
That's neat.
I'm the founding pastor of Wellsprings Ministries. And we just do a lot of work with the community, work with a lot of people. A lot of what we do as far as business goes right back into that, along with our Haese Cares program. So, and that's a charitable portion of the company.
We'll go back to the business side. I do remember reading you had manufacturing also. You work with a lot of manufacturing and retail, hospitality. How did you get into those industries?
Just meeting people, talking to people.
Okay.
I'm old fashioned. I get out and shake hands.
So you keep your options open as far as partners that you work with.
Well, to an extent.
Okay.
I pick and choose who I work with, based on who the company is, what their functions are. Do they line up with our way of doing things, our belief system? Do they line up?
So what would you say is your mission statement? What would be your value that you're looking for to align with another company when you're partnering?
It's being able, taking care of people, putting people first. That is the biggest thing. I want to make sure that, when we're working with somebody, we almost become family at a certain point.
Right. I would agree with that.
And, it's just understanding those values and not always putting the shareholder ahead of everything. But, your staff, your customers, the way you take care of those people is the utmost importance.
Sure.
Like I would say your number one client is your staff.
Hmm. Yeah. Taking care of your employees,
Right.
your team.
Right.
Yeah, those are your people. So when you're looking for technology partners, what are you looking for integration opportunities?
You know, I look into the same realm first.
Okay.
Who the company is and what do they stand for. That's the number one thing I'm going to look at.
Hmm.
Then I'm looking at what they're able to bring to the table, what
Hmm.
makes them different, um, why utilize these whoever it is versus somebody else.
Okay. So then who's the touch point? Does your vendors work with your customers like through that, or do you have your team working with your tech partners to the customer?
We a lot of times are the front end.
Okay.
However, with partners, we'll bring on certain system engineers and other people, and it really is case by case.
Okay.
But as far as first touch, especially if there's ever an issue or there's a need, they call us.
Okay.
They come to us first.
So
And
you're a shake hands guy. How do you
very
handle the
much
ones
so.
that don't live nearby?
I still get out and see them.
Okay.
I mean, we'll do a virtual meeting like this, but I make it a goal to make it around the country if I have to. Um, I'd like to know my people.
Mm-hmm.
It's important to me.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can't be there, I'm going to send one of my representatives there. I want to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that there's always a hand to shake.
Right. That sounds great. Yeah, that's the perfect plan.
Yep.
So
It
how
takes a
about
lot
the
of work.
the growth that you've seen in the last year in your team? Because I know you've posted some. I'm hiring. How's that going
Mhm.
for you?
It's up and down.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a really strange world as far as being able to hire, people that really have a good skill set.
Mm-hmm. We ourselves are hiring for some sales team, and it is an interesting conversation.
I've seen that. I've seen
Yeah.
those emails come through, and I'm like, Florida don't sound half bad.
Yeah. 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 We're adding some more support and whatnot. So when you bring us a client, what do you find is your expectations of iCG for your clients in support in the relation to support?
Do what you say you're gonna do. Follow
Hmm.
through.
Hmm.
Communicate. Those are things that are probably the most important. You know, I already know that what you guys bring to the table is very well thought out, very well
Hmm.
put together. It's not, just clunky. Um,
Right.
so, I mean, I already know all that's there. So,
Yeah. 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 Hopefully you can tell that we care, that
absolutely,
we're there. Yeah.
absolutely, and I can tell, a lot of our values are very similar.
Hmm. Yeah. I believe our core values line up. So when you're looking and just reiterating, when you're looking for these partners and you're working with your merchants, you're looking for someone that is in line with your ethics, that is
Right.
in line with your values. Yeah, that's the way to go. So then when they come to you and they have a complaint, how do you resolve that? What are the kind of conversations that you have with them to get them back on track?
Most of my conversations are really simple.
Yeah.
What is happening? What's going on?
Hmm.
Let's take a look at it. And if it's within my control, we just handle it. We get it fixed.
Okay.
Uh, if they're having an issue with a partner, not a problem. We've built so long as a team together. We're going to find another way to do the same thing or make it better.
Right. Yeah. Bring it in house. How about with the security and the fraud incidents? Have you had any issues with that yet?
Most of our platforms, that's what they work against.
Okay.
They, we work very hard to make sure that our clients are not being bombarded by fraud
Hmm.
or security issues.
Hmm.
Um, I have a partner of mine that we're starting to implement. Um, I probably have one of the best platforms as far as network security is concerned.
Hmm.
Um, I sit on occasion with a bunch of their minds are beyond mine as far as cybersecurity and things like that.
Uh-huh.
But I learn an awful lot. I
Hmm.
am through some of these meetings is the reason why I picked up like Cato
Hmm.
Network. Um,
Okay.
their their platform is second to none when it comes to network security. Um, it's just an absolutely advanced system with points of presence all globally. Um,
Hmm.
they in the real world, you're going to notice that it can take 150 some days to find out what is going on in your network and bring a resolution. Whereas Cato, and this is well known, it's well documented, they'll find and fix it within 15 minutes typically.
That's great.
Just a powerful pack partner.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So then they manage, when it comes to the payment side, are they managing your PCI compliance and all that for you? Or is that where? Okay.
They are not.
Okay.
No.
So then you'll lean on us for that?
It depends. Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. But, we obviously have some friends that are very good in the PCI world.
Sure. I know Christopher. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, he's an excellent resource. Yes.
We have, some of our in-house platforms, our PCI compliance to the client end comes down to 2 questions.
Mm-hmm.
Makes it really easy. However, on the back end, PCI is something it's almost a constant effort.
Sure. Yes. And you know that we keep our Nacha standards with the ACH to the same standard as PCI.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is huge.
Right.
When I've some of the conversations I'm having now with some of the regional banks, we're finding needs to upgrade their security and all of those platforms.
Mm-hmm. How about international? Do you have an international merchants yet?
I do not have too many international merchants.
Okay.
Well, I can't say that because our XPay platform now has integrations in South Africa.
Oh, wow.
With Digitap.
Okay. I didn't know that. What do they do there?
Digitap, I mean, that's embedded into their transaction and currency system.
Okay.
So they use our platform.
Okay.
To be able to run transactions on it.
Yeah, the push payments is becoming really popular now with the clearinghouse, and then of course, FedNow will come out. Hopefully,
right.
the end of next year.
Absolutely. Yeah, the FedNow that's going to be fun. That's going to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of changes the face of things a little bit.
Sure.
A lot of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a lot of clients that are going to like that quite a bit.
I totally agree with you on that one. Just the push payment, especially with property management. Now, the hospitality though, how would that work? Where do you see them? How do they process payments best? Like, where do you see that going?
A lot of the hospitality that I work with seems to be more on the e-com side of things.
Okay.
So many people are self-directing those situations. But almost everything that I've done comes together, and it all speaks together when I'm working with somebody. So it allows us to be able to kind of, not only put in a POS system or their payment system or their, maybe they need Wi-Fi analytics or, physical security system. We're able to take a look at a much bigger picture.
Mm-hmm. So do you have a software that you built in-house for doing the analytics to do those metrics?
So as far as Wi-Fi analytics or, things of that nature, there's lots of times we'll work with Cisco, Meraki, different companies like that.
Okay. And then how does that carry over? So you've got hospitality. How about in your telecommunications? How do you set them up? What does that process look like?
I mean, that is all intertwined. It's so much more about, our telecom side has become more technology than just telecom.
Okay.
It all still tends to kind of come in and under this all just one purview, but it's so intertwined. Mm-hmm. It's hard to even separate it anymore because it all speaks together.
Yeah. What kind of payments needs would a telecom place have?
The payments needs as far as telecom themselves varies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's everything from your bill pay platforms to your, and a lot of it's your e-commerce world. Mm-hmm. That's a big mix. I'm really finding more that the merchant service realm needs a telecom realm.
Oh. What would that look like?
The merchant service realm cannot, we can say that we have, tokenized payments or a whole mishmash of different PCI elements, different things like that. But if your network is not running correct, you can still get nabbed pretty easy. Mm-hmm. All that payment information still sits out there.
Mm-hmm.
Your e-commerce platform is not going to work well unless your network is optimized.
Mm-hmm.
we're going to find issues just talking to clients when we don't have a good network.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
All that data, all that card data, all of our customer data, or you think of in a hospital, you think of all the HIPAA information, the client's charts, all that information is sitting there somewhere.
Mm-hmm. That's a little scary. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Network's not strong.
Absolutely.
How about incident rates? Do you see a lot of break-ins, a lot of security breaches? Do you have metrics on that?
I don't have the metrics on me right now, but we've taken several looks at in different organizations,
Mm-hmm.
and this is something that I look at with the cybersecurity people. It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
it makes it very interesting, and you'll start to see that hackers have been infiltrating these systems for months before you ever see it.
Wow.
Before you ever see it, and then boom, we got it.
Mm-hmm. So in a hospital, they could get their personal information, their medical information, they're getting their payment information,
Absolutely.
They're getting all of the, wow, that's a lot of data.
It is a lot of data.
Well, let me get you back on your personal side.
Sure.
The veteran owned, you're the veteran. So tell me about that experience.
Well, I was 28 years old when I went in. Week and a half into basic training, I'm like, okay, Lord, why in the world am I here? This is insane.
Mm-hmm.
A week and a half later, I had met the brigade chaplain and started opening up Sunday services with him. And it wasn't long, and I was speaking in front of about 5,000-ish people a week.
Wow.
Doing ministry while I was at the basic training camp.
Wow.
And they called me Reverend.
That's great.
And I had 10 years on all these little guys, and they're like, you know what? If all Reverend can do it, you better do it too.
That's a little bit later to be going in. What made you go in at 28?
I felt the push to go and help people. And I went in to do information systems, and I also did their HR platforms, all the software.
Mm-hmm.
So I became a subject matter expert really quick. I trained I was actually stationed over on Oahu.
Mm-hmm.
But that really kind of, I developed a deeper interest in the technology and the way things were done, security realms. It just kind of all just got deeper and deeper.
Sure.
Before I went into the Army, I looked at the world in one lens, and now I tend to see things way different.
So you came out of the military seeing a great need for more security.
Absolutely. So much of it was kind of disjointed. Big system here, big system there, big system there.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now, we're able to do almost all of that, and I can set that up with somebody in a matter of days.
Mm-hmm.
It's not this big, giant, clunky stuff anymore. You still have to know your rules and permissions and all of that fun stuff, but we're able to simplify it, make it easier.
So Nacha continues to come out with all these new rules, these rule changes, trying to make things stronger, so that you can't get hacked, and your information when you process a check is stronger. Especially the ACH, all these new rules. You're watching them coming in. Is that, or do you have a way that you keep track of all of it as you're doing your payments with credit cards too?
I do a lot of reading, and I do a lot of watching.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always different ways to look at things.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen any resistance with the latest rule change with the web debit?
Not yet. No.
Okay.
Not yet.
I was curious. I hadn't talked with anyone yet that talked about that. So I'm curious if there was any kickback on that, or not kickback is the wrong word, resistance. Because that's, now you have to have all of your checks verified, the account validation.
Right. Yeah, I haven't really come across a whole lot of pushback. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Most people, when they talk to us, we're coming in as a consultant first before we try and sell anything.
Sure.
So, they usually just, based on their needs and their pain points, we look at the bigger picture and make recommendations from there.
Sure.
And we do a lot of work on the front end to build up a relationship and trust.
Right.
So we don't get a whole lot of kickback.
Okay.
There's not a lot of resistance once it comes down to that.
They've trusted you.
Right.
So then what kind of solutions have you seen that's been the most popular? Once you get in there and you're consulting and you're working with them, what do people get most excited about? And I guess you could go per industry, because I know that
Yeah.
different verticals have different needs.
It's hard to say that anything is quasi exciting. Um, uh,
I'm trying to make payments exciting as best I can.
well, people's data has become the biggest thing.
Okay.
Clients' data. So many people, I'm hearing it time and time again. Gosh darn it, I've had to redo my debit card again.
Mm-hmm. So security is probably your biggest solution then. That's what they're
That-
really
that-
hoping.
Yeah, that's huge.
Right.
That is absolutely huge.
Mm-hmm. So when you came and we first started talking, and then you got with Sally, and we had a slew of solutions in-house that we're handling. So you could go to this vendor for SMS invoicing, and this one for IVR, and this one for security, and then you find iCG's doing all those in one house. When you're talking with clients, what do you find that they really want besides security? Obviously, everybody's wanting to be secure. What do you find that your clients are wanting?
Smooth operations. They want things to run smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
They start their day. They want their whole tech package to run like one cohesive unit.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, for us, it's really doesn't lean one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of all.
Mm-hmm.
Every client, every vertical is a little different.
Mm-hmm.
And you get into, oh my gosh, you get into hospitality. There's a huge mix. I mean, you have your e-commerce solutions that need to be done. You have all your front desk situations that need to be done. That all needs to speak together. I mean, you have payment ends on both sides. I mean, typically within there, you end up having retail shops lots of times, and you have these food establishments. All of it needs to work together.
Mm-hmm. What about the manufacturing? What do they ask of you when you're working with those kinds of clients?
Manufacturing gets really strange these days because now we're talking the Internet of Things.
Okay.
We're still talking about, there's a whole host of security issues, physical security, network security. I mean, we're talking, we're getting into places that, they have their designs and all that information out there.
Mm-hmm.
Their people data. I mean, it all comes down to data. They were originally, or at some point.
Mm-hmm. What kind of payments do they want? What kind of solutions do they ask for? So e-commerce, when you say e-commerce, do you mean like a hosted payment page? Is that what
Well,
you're referring to?
sometimes it's a hosted payment page. I mean, there's lots of times, they're just running big ACH transactions, and
Okay.
Every one of them's different. The way they approach it's different.
Mm-hmm.
Would there be wires? Yeah, there's probably, a fair amount.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a big mix.
Yeah.
It's so
That's
hard
not
to pinpoint.
that's not one I'm familiar with. Manufacturing is one that I know that it's an industry that we sell to, but as far as for me, it's one that I'm learning about now. What would their pain points be? What kind of payments would they use us for? Like what would be the solutions that we have that they would be most excited about, if you could be excited?
I mean, think of your IVR solution.
Mm-hmm.
And that comes in huge handy right there. It's on the
Okay.
front end.
Yeah, I could see that.
And,
And same.
and businesses, those manufacturers, sometimes they have a retail component. There's other times, they have e-commerce, so platforms that they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's a huge mix, and you got to be able to just listen to the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's different every time.
Sure. We recently, this morning, on our call, Sally was talking about a municipality where it's a software company. They set up kiosks in municipalities where you can make your payment.
Yeah.
And I thought that was genius. Whoever came up with that, like you're standing there and I can pay your taxes or, whatever, and you could just do it at the kiosk. You skip the whole human waiting in line for an hour and they've had a bad day.
You can go into a gas station and handle all your DMV needs in the gas station on the kiosk.
Mm-hmm.
You can pay your water bill or whatever it is right on the kiosk in the gas station. You don't even have to call these guys or step foot in their place.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that would be a good vertical to get into if we can find out those software.
I don't think that'd be that hard to do.
No. Just got to find the right person. What do you do for fun when you got that time that you get to yourself?
I like to cook and barbecue.
Yeah.
I honestly, I have POS clients that have some pretty cool restaurant ideas. So I will go and drop in, and it's very often I'll get involved with menu redesigns and helping them with food costing and all this other weird stuff that I think is fun.
So I say payments, you're like, I don't know if that's exciting, but then food redesigning a menu is fun.
Right.
Huh.
Right.
That's fun.
So
That's unique.
yeah, I mean, I have clients, they'll be working on a menu item or something like that. Oh, try this. Okay, well, you need to do this and that and this, and that'll be better.
Wow.
By the way, you're what you're charging for this is not quite right. You need to do this.
Wow. That's amazing. So you're helping them build their infrastructure of the communication system. You're helping them to design their menu. You're helping them to get paid.
Yep.
I mean, it's like the full gambit.
Yeah, pretty much.
So you don't necessarily have anyone that you would turn away, but who would be like your ideal client that they would come into you?
I don't know. It's just hard to say. I love working with hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun. But you get some of the more challenging situations like a hospital network. That's a whole lot of fun. There's so much involved.
Yeah.
But sometimes I just like the challenge of it.
Yes. So the hospital, I'll have, because you said a whole bunch. Give me 3 things in the hospital that you do there that makes it challenging fun.
Yeah, let's security. Physical security is huge. That makes it that's a whole lot of fun. Their whole comm system could be very complex. And that goes everywhere from your firewalls to your. It's just so much that goes into it. The quality of service, that's a huge thing. Inventory tracking. That's huge.
Right.
That is huge.
Yeah, that $20 one Tylenol. They got to make sure they keep up with it.
Well, not only that, but they need to know, what they have in stock, where it is, where it's at, how to bill it. All that information comes into play, and that becomes. We're starting to dabble in what they call the Internet of Things.
Do you get their payment business too when you handle all of the rest of it for them? When you're keeping their inventory and all that, they also give you their payments?
Yeah.
Wow.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? I just, that's pretty deep in. That's some real stickiness in there to give them the full good experience.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
And it allows us to reduce some fees in other areas because we're really, pulling in all that payment money, our payment business.
Right? Yeah, because you can teach them so much. I mean, just educating them on the merchant fees and on if they use ACH or all of that. They've already trusted you because you started that in the beginning.
Right. There's also times where our lead in is a payment industry.
Okay.
It works a whole myriad of ways.
Wow. That's amazing.
I tell people, blessed are the flexible, for you shall not break. You constantly flex, you constantly listen. Try and take as good a notes as you can.
Yeah, the transcription. That's why I have that in case
Absolutely. I like to be social. I enjoy it. I don't like sitting in my office. I like to be out and about.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah. But there's going to be so much fun stuff coming along the pike. So much.
I'm looking forward to hearing all the stories of how you guys are working together and all that. And then we'll take this. So we'll do a press release. We'll do some Instagram posts, some LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, all that kind of stuff will come out. We'll have a blog. And of course, you'll see what we're doing. So you can approve it beforehand. But they'll take some of the content that we've had and we can make multiple conversations out of it. And what I like the best about what we do is making it personalized, to where we're human. Like I go on to there. I haven't been posting so much, busy with other stuff,
Right.
And so I'm trying, but that was the favorite part that I enjoyed was to be able to give the personal side of who iCG is, and then they get to know it a little bit. I'm the back door to Jason.
Right.
So, as we've grown, he realizes that and he says, I need a firewall around me. But I appreciate the time that you gave to me. And
absolutely.
And I'll get this going, get it started, and we'll start revving the engine so we can get some business sent your way.
Sounds good. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Sure. Appreciate you. Appreciate the time you took.
All right. Well, if you ever want any more one-off antics, I'll give it to you.
Okay. Sounds good.
All
I'll
right.
talk to you.
Have a great day.
Soon. You too. Bye.
All right. Bye.